They weren't just love songs, they were declarations of vulnerability in a world ruled by leather jackets and guitar solos. In the heart of the 80s, when rock screamed rebellion and neon ruled the streets, something unexpected happened. The loudest voices suddenly went soft just enough to break your heart wide open. These were the ballads that lit up radios, prom nights, and cassette players. From stadium anthems to whispered promises of forever, these 10 tracks became the emotional spine of a decade built on volume. The hair was big, the feelings were bigger, and these songs, they said everything we couldn't. Let's begin. Carrie by Europe arrived in 1987, and it wasn't just a song, it was a raw, emotional confession. The guitar intro felt like a heartbeat in slow motion, each chord echoing the ache of first love and longing. The ballad captured a generation's early heartbreaks. Young listeners felt seen. These lyrics were their diary entries set to a power chord. When Joey Tempa's voice soared over that iconic melody, it hit with cinematic clarity. Suddenly, rock became intimate and confessional. Teen lovers walked home from school with this playing on repeat, feeling the drama and hope woven into every refrain. It resonated beyond Europe's stadium roots. It was rock with a pulse. The ballad's evolution from quiet acoustic demo to full-blast power ballad showcased bold ambition. It was a fearless reinvention. Rock could roar, but it could also whisper heartbreak. And Carrie did both with grace, bridging raw emotion and stadium brilliance. Decades later, the track still hits the soul. Every time you play it, you remember that bittersweet tension of wanting someone and fearing loss. It's a song that ages like wine, deepening with every passing year. Take My Breath Away exploded onto the scene in 1986, riding high with the blockbuster Top Gun. It was more than a soundtrack, it became the anthem of cinematic romance. Synths shimmered like starlight, enveloping every syllable. Terry's vocals felt weightless yet deeply committed, like a promise whispered under moonlight. This ballad rewrote expectations. In an era of heavy riffs and big hair, here was a soft, synth-driven piece that topped charts globally. It proved that rock could breathe new life through electronic emotion. And the Oscars and Golden Globe wins? That sealed its legendary status. There's something transcendental in the way the melody floats, transporting you to flight decks, sunsets, and dangerous love. It's a song that doesn't just play, it lifts you. And while critics debated Berlin's identity, audiences were swept away by the romance. Even now, when the opening chords play, you feel time tapering off. Obligations fade, hearts tighten, and that familiar cinematic rush returns. This isn't just nostalgia, it's an emotional reset. In 1981, Open Arms changed Journey's trajectory with a single piano chord. Gone was the arena, rock bravadothus was soul confessed through melody. Steve Perry's voice stood vulnerable, admitting a need for love that cut straight to the bone. It was rock laid bare, wrapped in an emotional embrace. The song's build, from whispered plea to full-throated chorus, felt breathtakingly honest. It transformed stadium stages into confession booths. Fans everywhere recognized themselves in every turn of phrasia, longing to reconnect, a hope for return. It was universal, yet deeply personal. The production was simple but effective: piano, guitar, voicino frills. That purity let the emotion shine. When the chorus hit, the audience didn't just listen. They felt the ache, the hope, the surrender. Today, Open Arms remains a touchstone for anyone with wounds that still ache. It's proof that strength isn't in turning away, it's in saying, I'm still here and I'm open.
Now, nothing can take you away from me.
Heaven didn't need fireworks. Bryan Adams delivered something far more powerful, genuine emotion wrapped in a simple, unforgettable melody. Released in 1984, this song was a sleeper hit that became a staple of wedding dances and love dedications across the world. It wasn't flashy, but it was honest, and that's why it worked. Originally part of a movie soundtrack, Heaven found its true home on the album Reckless. Bryan's raspy vocals felt like a warm hand on a cold night, imperfect, but real. The track spoke directly to young lovers who believed they had found their forever. No cynicism, no irony, just hope in its purest form. The power of Heaven came from its simplicity. A few chords, a clear hook, and lyrics that didn't try to be clever, just true. There was something disarming about its sincerity, especially in an era dominated by glam and excess. This was a ballad that made you close your eyes and believe. Even today, when it plays, it freezes time. It's not just a song, it's a memory vault. Whether it was your first slow dance or a car ride home under the stars, Heaven left its mark, quietly but permanently. When Def Leppard dropped Love Bites in 1987, no one expected a hard rock band to top the charts with a song so tender. It wasn't just a hit, it was a turning point. Suddenly, power chords and vulnerability weren't enemies, they were co-stars in a heart-wrenching anthem. Love Bites didn't just scratch the surface of romantic pain it dove in. Joe Elliott's vocals dripped with aching realism, and the layered production gave the track a haunting atmosphere. The chorus didn't shout, it trembled, begging to be heard. This was a love song from the shadows, not the sunshine. The track almost never made it into the band's hands. It began as a country-style demo, only to be reimagined into a glam rock powerhouse under producer Robert John Mutt Lange's guidance. What emerged was bold, dramatic, and drenched in sadness. Love Bites showed that even the loudest bands had a soft underbelly. It taught listeners that heartbreak wasn't a weakness, it was part of the ride. And in those echoes of pain, millions found something deeply relatable. Do sad love songs still hit this hard today? With Is This Love, Whitesnake peeled back the layers of their heavy rock image and revealed a softer, more sensual side. Released in 1987, the song immediately carved its place as a rock ballad for lovers caught in emotional limbo. It asked a question we've all feared to voice. Is this real or just another passing moment? Originally written with Tina Turner in mind, David Coverdale decided to keep the track in. It's easy to see why. His smoky, powerful voice blended perfectly with the song's smooth progression. Every line felt like it was caught between confession and hesitation. This wasn't love on fire, it was love under examination. The music video, full of steamy visuals and intimate glances, became an MTV classic. But behind the glam was a sincere exploration of vulnerability and admission that even the most confident can feel lost when it comes to love. To this day, Is This Love remains one of the band's most enduring hits, not because it screamed, but because it asked softly, and in that softness, it found timeless strength. By 1982, Chicago had already made a name blending brass and rock, but Hard to Say I'm Sorry changed everything. Gone Were the Horns This was stripped down emotion in its purest form. The song wasn't just about regret. It was an open wound set to a piano melody, and it hit harder because of its restraint. Peter Cetrera's voice carried the weight of every broken promise, every missed chance. The lyrics didn't hide behind metaphors, they faced the pain head-on. For many, it became the soundtrack to their hardest conversations. Couples danced to it, others cried alone to it. Either way, it connected. What made the song revolutionary wasn't just its softness, it was its courage. In a genre full of bravado, here was a band that said sorry and meant it. Producer David Foster helped mold the track into something that felt almost sacred minimal, yet massive. Even now, Hard to Say I'm Sorry hasn't lost its edge. It still reminds us that admitting fault is one of the bravest things we can do. The song didn't just ask for forgiveness, it helped listeners find the words to do the same. In 1984, Scorpions released Still Loving You, and Europe never looked the same again. This wasn't just a song, it was a storm. Passionate, tortured, and melodic, it tore through the hard rock landscape and left behind a legacy of heartbreak and devotion. Klaus Meine's voice soared over an aching guitar line, confessing love that refused to die. The lyrics painted a picture of distance and yearning, not just for a person, but for reconciliation, for peace. It was raw, almost uncomfortably honest, and that's why it stuck. While the United States gave it modest chart success, Europe embraced it like a national anthem of love and loss. Rumors of a baby boom in France, linked to the song, only cemented its myth. Few ballads ever held such emotional sway across borders. Still Loving You still echoes today, in arenas and quiet rooms alike. It reminds us that some feelings don't fade, they smolder, waiting to be reignited. And when that opening riff plays, everything else falls away. By the time I'll Be There For You hit the airwaves in 1989, Bon Jovi had already conquered the rock world, but this song marked something deeper. It wasn't just an anthem, it was a promise wrapped in guitar strings and desperate vocals, a final track for a decade full of hope and heartbreak. From the first note, Jon Bon Jovi's voice bleeds sincerity. The lyrics don't sugarcoat love, they embrace its complexity, its pain, its resilience. This wasn't glam, it was grit. A ballad built for radios, stadiums, and bedrooms, where lovers tried one more time to make it work. What made it special was its balance. It still had that New Jersey swagger, but also the humility to say, I need you. In a time before texts and voice notes, people recorded this onto mixtapes, hoping it said what they couldn't. It became a love letter for the voiceless. Today, it stands as a closing statement for the rock ballad era. Not because the genre died, but because this song captured its essence: loud hearts, soft words, and the promise to stay. Have you ever promised forever and meant it? Gotta take a little time. Foreigner's I Want to Know What Love Is wasn't just a song, it was a soul cry. Released in 1984, it shattered expectations, blending gospel emotion with rock vulnerability. This was more than a hit. It was a spiritual awakening disguised as a power ballad, one that made you stop whatever you were doing and just feel. Mick Jones, the band's guitarist and songwriter, was reflecting on personal heartbreak when he wrote it. What emerged wasn't a love song in the traditional sense, it was a question, a longing, a desperate reach into the unknown. Lou Graham's voice didn't just sing, it pleaded, trembled, and soared. And when the New Jersey Mass Choir came in, goosebumps every single time. This ballad didn't rely on flashy guitar solos or pounding drums. It used restraint, atmosphere, and sincerity. And the result? A global #1 hit, one of the most iconic moments in rock history. It felt like every note was crafted to touch something deep in the listener. Even today, I Want to Know What Love Is continues to resonate. It's not just a love song, it's a mirror, one that reflects our most human need, to be understood, to be held, to be loved. What does love sound like to you today, right now? They weren't just songs. They were emotional time machines, each track a heartbeat from the past still echoing today. These 10 rock ballads didn't need to shout to be heard. They whispered truths, screamed vulnerability, and built bridges between broken hearts. In a decade fueled by excess, they reminded us that emotion never goes out of style. Whether you live those moments or are just discovering them now, these ballads offer more than nostalgia. They're reminders that love, loss, and longing are universal and timeless. And as long as guitars weep and voices tremble, these songs will keep playing somewhere in someone's story. Subscribe to keep this musical journey alive, because the next chapter in rock's emotional legacy is just a play button away.